It is RaceSpotTV Friday Night Primetime, coming at you once again with another installment of the brand new iRacing Formula V series. Hello and welcome, one and all. Same crew that brought you the Indy Pro 2000 race at Phoenix just about an hour ago. I'm Miller Rempo with Lorenzo Bonner beside me in the commentary box, and Connor Matty behind the camera for today's race. Stefan, unable to join us today due to his electricity, decided to go on a strike. So, about a quarter of the way through the season now here at the Tsukuba 2000 short layout before heading over to Okoyama and then back to the Americas for Lion Rock Park. So, a very exciting race coming up for us here, Lorenzo. Should be a good one considering how good the last two races have been.
They have been really, really good. I saw the Auto Park race. It was a banger. I can't wait to see how it's going to be at the Tsukuba layout. I think this layout is even better than what the short layout is in terms of racing. So I can't wait to see, because it might be some real close racing up in the front.
Oh, it's bound to be some very close racing up at the front. I mean, we've been seeing for the last two races, these 12-minute sprints have produced some incredibly exciting racing. Of course, both of us wish these races were a bit longer. We'd be able to look at this sort of thing for even longer. So that's the only real downside I would say about this. But I tell you what, it's a very short track today. I mean, I've been looking at the qualifying times, pole position, just 49 seconds. These are some wickedly short lap times, so we're going to be seeing upwards of 15 laps of this race. It's going to feel like a long one for them.
It's going to feel like quite of a long one, not an endurance-like race like we normally see in some other categories, but it's going to be a really, really interesting race. Again, it's going to be close because the laps have been so close to one another and we cannot make up who's going to be coming out on top. This track again provides that kind of a close racing and some very aggressive maneuvers, especially into turn number 4. So it's going to be an interesting race, nevertheless, at the Japanese track.
I think saying it's going to be an interesting race is a little bit of an understatement there. We've got so much that's going to be coming on up for us here. No doubt going to be a really exciting race here tonight.
It's going to be an exciting race tonight. Again, 15 laps, 12 minutes, and all the drivers basically nearly separated by 1 second from first 8. There's still a few other drivers who still have to take their laps. It's 8 minute total in terms of qualifying, so I can't wait to see how the lines are actually done, because this is again a very fun track to drive, but I think it might not be the easiest track to drive in the FV, especially with the coat tires like the FVs have.
We've seen drivers over driving this car in the past be incredibly punished by just how this car does not like to be overdriven. So you get into a track like the Tsukuba 2000 layout where it's a lot more technical, and as you can see, very unceremonious spit out back onto the back straightaway here. The Tsukuba 2000 layout as we watch Tsukuba Lopez coming up to the final corner. He is one of those drivers that's currently on his first of 2 flying laps that these drivers receive. So Lopez, a bigger name in the 2K World Cup, comes across the line. 48.780. That is going to be enough to put him up on pole position. So that number 1 car is looking mighty good. That is about 4/10 of a second up, almost exactly on Carlos Alcario. Still grounding that second lap as well. So you got Tsukuba Lopez, one of the only drivers at the moment still out on track. In fact, the only car still out on track. Take a look on board. You can see some of the wheel work he's having to do throughout the middle section. Of course, the track kind of rises up and then falls away from you to go back onto the back straightaway.
And going to the final turn, you're going to see basically using the full run out of the I cannot say AstroTurf is a part of concrete, that green concrete. It can actually use it and abuse it, and it's going to do. It's not, the lap is invalidated. It's a 49-0, but it has been invalidated nevertheless. So you can use it a little bit of a practice going to the race. And if that lap was valid, that would have been pole regardless of what would happen.
Only 12 drivers are in this field, as is the standard for races like this. Just to show you how close that field is, though, the top 8 drivers, and there's only been 9 that have set times, are less than a second separated from each other. And in fact, second on back through 8th place, those are just half a second away from each other. So it is a very tight field out there at the moment, and it is no doubt going to be an incredibly exciting race. Sorry, by the way, for the small technical difficulties. I appear to be having some of my own at the moment, but those should be all sorted out now. But qualifying is going to be over here in just a few moments, and it is going to be one heck of a race coming up for us.
It's going to be a one heck of a race. I can't wait to see again what turn number 1, 2, and 3 will go like, because the nature of the track, there is a little bit of a runoff. You can go into turn number 3 specifically. That left-hand hairpin can get a little bit sketchy, which is turn number 4. So how the cars will negotiate going to that turn number 4 is going to be interesting. There's not going to be a whole lot of attrition going to that turn. I hope so, but again, it will provide some great racing nevertheless.
Should provide some absolutely thrilling racing. Now, qualifying has wrapped up, so let's take a rundown here through the starting grid before we go green for tonight's standing start for a 12-minute race. Tsukuba Lopez is going to be out there on pole position with a 48.780, with Carlos Alcario down in second place, with Eshan Kapadia in third place, James Simmons in fourth place, with Jareem Mason in the 5th position. Mikel Milan is going to be in 6th place, with Greg Laborde in 7th. Jose Martinez is in 8th position, with Tudor Owens, the last driver to set a time, down in 9th. Nikolai Polyakov is going to be in 10th place, with Austin Dilton 11th. James Burke in 12th place. Just waiting out on 4th place to grid on up here, along with 5th place, before we get things underway. So, almost ready to go racing here for round 3 of the iRacing Formula V Series here, Lorenzo. Real quick before we go green, your thoughts here as we wait for these final driver to grid on up.
I just hope the aggression at turn lap number 1 doesn't break this field apart, but it's going to be real interesting how they actually going to manage towards the first 4 turns of the track.
Still waiting on 4th place driver James Simmons to grid on up in his number 4 machine. He's at the moment the one guy that we are presently waited on, but you can see from some of the smoke flying out, especially from Mikel Milan, who's revving his engine, these guys are wanting to go. They are certainly, they're getting a little bit antsy out there. We've seen what that means in the past here for this series.
Yeah, I think they're burning up a little bit of fuel that makes the car a little bit lighter and it can actually launch top, but I think all drivers are in the grid now.
The lights come on. We get set to go racing. And we're underway. Tsukuba Lopez leads the field. It's a bad launch from Alcario down to turn one. Capadia already gets clear for second place, so down to turn one for the first time today. The top four single wide out, too wide, just behind. One car swings wide. Capadia gets a bad run, loses Alcario and Simmons. They somehow save it. Looking 2, 3 wide, further down in the field. It is a good launch from Tsukuba Lopez, who is well thrown front into the hairpin for the first time today. A couple of cars swinging wide, one car around. James Simmons goes for a full loop. Everybody avoids it. One car into the tire barriers, though. That's Mikel Milan that has crashed as well just right afterwards. So a messy start so far, but only 2 cars have spun out so far in the running order.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for Milan because you can see that Milan is actually trying to deviate from Simmons into the hairpin. Now you're going to see it's Alcadio, very bad start in the start of the race, and then you're going to see right on the left-hand side Capadia just launching himself off, and then it's going to get a little bit clunky into the exit of turn number 1, and as the cars try to negotiate themselves in the track.
Bit of contact there, sent a couple of cars scrambling there, so there was a bit of contact in the midfield there, and we're going to watch here. It's going to be a spin all by himself for that number 4 car coming around to the center of the corner. He's just going to lose it by himself right there on exit, and the 7 car just runs wide and bends it into the barriers. So that's definitely a pretty sizable hit. Definitely such a big shame for him. He was looking to be having such a good run. Austin Diltz, by the way, has had a small spin by himself. Not too much that we have to worry about. Up front, Tsukuba Lopez has pulled a massive gap, 2 seconds. So it's not going to be as close of a race for the win as we probably have seen at tracks like Wilton Park.
No, I think it doesn't look like it because of what happened in the back. That Tsukuba Lopez has nothing to do with it, and he basically just launched himself off the track and now retaining a very big lead, more than 2 seconds away. And we got some scrappers in the back.
Oh, that's Martinez going around. Along with him is going to be the 5 of Polyakov. So a couple of drivers having some massive issues there. Polyakov is still stopped against the barriers. He's going to take the tail back. Looks like Martinez is going to do the same. We'll take a look at a replay on this. This is coming down for turn number 1. First spin that we've had here at the opening corner. You got Polyakov up in front. Oh, he's going to loop the back end there. Then Martinez just nowhere to go, and they just tangle from there.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for them. And one of the things is it's hard to catch this car once it starts spinning. So that's what was the undoing for Martinez, just catching Polyakov right on the middle of the apex.
And another car off that is Mason this time around. Car number 8 of Jerry Mason, the 8 machine, has had a small spin, just a bit of a half spin all by himself. He managed to get it sorted, but he did lose out to Greg Laborde, James Berg, and Tudor Owens as well. So at the moment, the battle for the 5th position out there, I believe 4th place it's going to be now, is what we're looking towards. There you can see the 4th place battle. 3 cars strong coming out of turn number 6 onto the back straightaway. You were also taking a look for a brief second up at 2nd place, which was looking close, but so far this is the closer one out there on the track.
And this is a really good tussle between Owens, Laborde, and Mason, and let's see what the British is going to do. It's going to get a little bit more aggressive into the break in turn number 1, but not enough to actually fight for the gap that Laborde has into 1. Now you can see the gap separating P number 4, 5, 6, and 7. Mason a little bit far back, but nevertheless, really good tussle over here for P number 5 and 4.
Already 1/3 of the way through this race, only 8 minutes left on the clock. So the battle for 4th is looking strong. You've got Jerry Mason looking to maybe get his hat in the ring as well. Back in 7th place, trying to make it a 4-car scrap for the first spot outside of the podium. I'm kind of keeping eyes on both this battle here, along with the battle for P2, because these are both still nice and close, but it looks like P2 started to hot on up. Carlos Alcario looks for the inside around Capadia, down to the turn 1. Not close enough, though, to make a proper lunge.
Yeah, and Alcario try to get a little bit closer, trying to play a little bit of intimidator over here with Capati as they go to 2 and 3 and 4. And Alcario looking on the inside, and Capati immediately blocking off the inside lane into the hairpin.
Cuts him off and does so nicely. So Alcario is going to be able to maybe get a run on Capati here, coming over onto the back straightaway. We'll have to wait and see how this battle could play out. Remember, put 1 foot wrong, you'll be taking it out yourself, and most likely the guy right behind you as well. Alcario looks for a bit of a wider line, trying to get a better run off to the corner. Gets a face full of smoke as well from the exhaust pipe of Capati just on the tail of his car. Alcario's close enough. Still closing down for turn 1. Looks for the inside. Late defense of Capadia is going to send Alcario offline through 1.
Yeah, a little bit of a dangerous move from Capadia, because if Alcario wants actually to commit for it, that could have been a crash between both drivers. But Capadia lived to see another day. But some aggressive defending from Capadia to retain that P2 so far.
He's also got these alt positions going on as well for 4th place. In fact, James Burke has got the inside of Laborde down into the hairpin, but is not good enough on the exit to be able to get a run on him. So he got this battle for 3rd and 2nd, as well as for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Here comes Tudor Owens trying to find the inside of Burke. He gets cut off. Now Burke is the run on Greg Laborde, coming for the 7th and final turn on the track. Burke is going to try to take this one through that last corner, come to start finish. And James Burke might be able to take over 4th here.
Yeah, and Tudor Owens actually could have gone for the 3 wide. He actually had a really good run out of the final corner and could have contended for P number 4 over here. But didn't decide to go 3 wide, expected to see if any of the drivers would have made a mistake, and decided to hang back and remain in P number 6.
Just over halfway through this 12-minute race on just the 8th lap as well. This race, like all the others, just flying past us like it's standing still. So here comes Laborde. He takes a tighter line in on rather than Burke, but is not able to properly go for the position. Burke is forced defensive, though, as Laborde tries to maybe find some speed on the outside. I think he's going to try to go for the over-under here, but pushes a bit too wide himself. And that's going to open up the door for Tudor Owens to try to pick up 5th.
Yeah, let's see if Owens actually going to go for it. There's a little bit of room to work on the inside. I think Owens might be satisfied on the exit of turn number 1, going to 2 and 3. No, apparently Laborde managed to get a really good run on the outside of number 1.
Gets that run around the outside line, so Laborde is still able to hold on to 5th. Now going to have another run at Burke to try to go for 4th, but Burke's doing a great job here of just covering off Laborde, keeping him behind him at all costs. We'll keep eyes on this. I'll give a quick update on the battle for P2. The gap has started to split up, so Capadia is starting to pull a little bit further away. So we'll keep our eyes on this battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th here. Mason is also falling back in 7th, so it's going to be a 3-horse race here for that first spot outside of the podium.
Man, really good battle so far between these guys. Keeping it really clean, just driving the hardest they can. And again, this is rookie racing, so this is a really good experience for them to, get that harsh racing experience, try to go side by side with other drivers and gain some spots up.
Absolutely. I mean, these guys are certainly doing a good job so far. I mean, when you think of a rookie series, you typically don't expect to see a great race like we're seeing here, but this is just phenomenal what these guys are able to put onto us, especially what we saw at Fulton Park. That was a whole new level of excitement altogether. It's just such a difficult track to pass that, though, and that's the problem these guys are having. They're nice and close. They're close to go for the moves, but there's just not really any good passing opportunities where you could go for it. The best one is, of course, into turn 1, but you need to get a good run to the final corner first to be able to get that run that you need.
Plus, you need also to mistake the other driver, right? The driver that is defending to actually allow you to go for that run. But that's what I like about this track more than the other layout, the longer layout, right? Which is you have to earn the spots that you gain on the track, right? So you have to work for those spots. And I think in this car, you're going to have to work extra, and I think that brings you a little bit more of racecraft and how to be aggressive, when to be aggressive. So this is what I like about the V so far.
4 laps to go, estimated left with just under 3 minutes on the clock. We'll take a look back up to this battle for P2. Capadia has lost ground to Alcario. Alcario tries to find the outside line to go for 2nd place. I think he's going to try to go for the momentum run here, try to get the momentum off one of these corners and then go an overtake. Look for the inside of the hairpin, but that would be a very bold move, even under the best of circumstances, let alone to drive it in these Formula Vs against a guy that has shown that he is not willing to play a little bit dirty on the defensive to keep you behind him.
No, Capati is just, trying to go for later breakings over here, and Arcadio is trying to find the better lines. Now you can actually see Capadia having a little bit of a struggle on the second to last corner on the coming back of the back straight, and now you can see Arcadio might go for that over move.
Gets the run around the outside of turn 7, comes back on, and Capadia nearly shoves him off the track. The 6 car looking aggressive down into turn number 1 for the 13th time today and manages to fend off Alcario. I tell you what, I mean, Capadia's thrown some questionable moves, I think, to say the very least, especially with that one right there, where he nearly shoved Alcario full into the grass.
Yeah, I think that Alcario and
oh! Hang on, we've had a crash. Jose Martinez has just crashed hard right coming onto the oval, and he's taking Miguel Milan with him. Jose Martinez as well, and don't forget as well, Lopez had to slow up for this mess as well. That was your race leader that almost got collected as well. We'll take a look at this one, but this was a tremendous impact collide with the hay bales.
Yeah, looking at the hay bales, and you can see Cobalopi just coming back into the track, see both cars sitting right in the middle, and it's like, ooh, let me just get over here to the right inside line, and I'm safe, and I can continue.
He just clipped the hay bale that juts out into the track. It's a bit of a shame that had to happen. That's not the way you want to see one fight end, so that's going to take 2 cars out of the race in a big hurry. So you got the battle for P2 that's still hotting up, as well as this. Greg Laborde is still trying to find a way past James Burke as well. Here is going to be your race leader, Ade Coba-Lopez, coming to the white flag this next time by. Final lap for all these battles to get themselves sorted.
Yeah, we see the former 2K World Cup driver, I think, finding himself in another stride in these cars, right, Nolan? So, here we go. Final lap for both Alcario and Capadia. Going to see what the Capadia is going to do over here in turn 1 and what Alcario has up in his sleeve.
In the battle for 4th as well, Laborde is now side by side with James Burke trying to pick up the 4th position on the track as well. So you got all these battles that are starting to really pick on up. We'll keep our eyes on this battle for P2. Alcario tried the outside, now going to go for the switchback, go over, under. So Alcario still trying to see if he can find a way past Capadia. They're all, oh my gosh, this is such an intense battle we got going on here for 2nd place and for 4th. So, oh, look at this. Capadia nearly flips the hay bales there, ended up having to back off, or he would have ended up running over them. So Esteban Capadia is going to come through turn 2. He'll pick up 2nd place. Lopez picks up the win. Here's the battle for 4th, though, with James Burke retaking that 5th place. Tudor Owens picked up 5th. Laborde is falling back to 6th, with Jeremy Mason trying to come up behind. Greg Laborde is going to try to get the outside around Owens. Cannot get there. The battle for 4th place comes out with our friend James Burke up in top, with Ade Coba-Lopez taking victory here in the 3rd race of the iRacing Formula V Series.
Yeah, really good drive from Coba-Lopez again, showing why he's one of the best low-power cars in the whole world, right? He dominates in the 2K World Cup, so dominate over here in the Japanese track with these V cars. Good to see driving out of this pain here.
A very good race, all things considered. I mean, you had the dramas at the start that took a lot of drivers out of contention, but Lopez put on a clinic here today. So I believe now it is about time to go through and take a look at our official post-race results from round number 3. Ade Coba-Lopez takes victory with Capadia just barely coming out on top of Carlos Alcario coming home 3rd step on the podium. James Burke fends off Tudor Owens and Greg Laborde for 4th place, with Owens finishing 5th. Laborde dropping 2 spots on the 1 lap down to 6th. Jeremy Mason is going to be in 7th place, with James Simmons in 8th. Austin Dill's 9th, the last driver on the lead lap, with Nikolai Polyakov in 10th place. And then Miguel Milan and Jose Martinez to round out the 12-car field in today's race. Really good run here so far today, and we're going to take a look actually at that battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. We were focused on P2, obviously the more priority battle, but this is where it all started. This is on the 2nd to last lap here, and this is where you saw Laborde trying to go around Burke to take up the 4th position.
Yeah, you can see Labordo on the inside and Burt trying to defend that outside line, right? So they come into start-finish line, start the final lap in this race. You can see basically a good cover off from Burke, going trying on the outside line, but just couldn't get the run in and actually defend it properly. So I think the key here is Tudor Owens, because he managed to grab the spot out of the drivers basically into the re-entry out of the track, and everything's going to get crumbled right now.
So there you see Berg is going to come through here and retake the 4th position, and muscles him a bit wide and nearly touches him as well. That opens up the door for Owens to get through and pick up 5th. I didn't know I got that close between the two of these guys. And shout out to James Burke as well. He did not qualify the race, started dead last, and he finished in 4th place after that amazing display of offensive driving. That is quite the drive there for the number 12 car to move up 8 places in just 12 minutes.
Yeah, really good at driving from Burke right there, and can't wait to see what is going to be in the next few rounds as we go into Yokoyama short ride. And I think this is what I like about Japanese tracks, right? Sometimes they are a little bit clunky in terms of going to battles gap by gap, right? So you're not gonna get those things going dive bombing and other drivers like that, because they don't get those max runs. But I like that they have to earn their positions up like they have done over here. Okayama is pretty much going to be a little bit of a same deal, but he has more turns and he has some more runoff areas, wider straight areas for you to work on. So it's going to be interesting nevertheless.
Oh, and despite being on the Piper circuit, don't discount as well that run that you can get off the final corner towards the front straightaway. That is going to be an absolutely insane run towards the finish there. No doubt we're going to be seeing a couple of drag races for position coming up on our second Japanese circuit over at Okayama.
Yeah, and again, if I have to pick between both tracks, I like Yokoyama more because it is a track that flows better with these cars than Tsukuba. But it's nevertheless, I think it is a harder track for you to defend than Tsukuba. I think Tsukuba, if you get the line, if you don't overshot your line, you basically you're basically safe. Okayama is a little bit harder because it is wider than Tsukuba. It has some, especially turn number 2, which is the hairpin, is a little bit tricky because if you get turn number 1 wrongly, you open up basically the door into turn number 2, and it's basically a 180 degrees hairpin, and somebody can actually dive bomb and take your position away and go into 3 and 4, which is also very tricky. So it is going to be a much more difficult track for the drivers to manage than what we saw here at Tsukuba.
It's going to be an incredibly entertaining race, to be sure. You got yourself some tighter corners, You've got yourself some longer straights as well, which is going to open up the drafting battles a bit more. It's a technical track as well, especially with turn 1 being so fast and flowing in comparison to how, Tsukuba is, and just the Formula Vs in general, which only really have that top speed of about, 110 miles an hour, give or take. I mean, they're not fast cars, and that's what makes them so great for racing. They're able to race so well together, and we've been seeing that time and time again, and this race is like no other. So no doubt, round number 4 going to be a very entertaining one as well. But it is looking like that is just about going to be all the time we're going to have here for one day, which is a big shame as always, because I mean, this race is always a thrill to cover. But that is going to be it for us here today from Tsukuba on RaceSpotTV. Yamadolo Wemple with Lorenzo Bonda beside me in the commentary booth, and Connor Maddock once again doing a great job behind the cameras for today's race. Fantastic race here at Tsukuba. We'll see you in 1 week's time at Okayama.